If you're watching this video, chances are you're trying to decide the best way to start prepping for the GMAT Focus exam. There is definitely an overwhelming amount of information and videos out there, so today I'm going to summarize all of that content into one succinct video that will help you finally take the next step on your GMAT prep. I'm also proud to share that this video is sponsored by Magoosh, which can be a great resource in this process. I'll tell you more about them later, but before that, if this is your first time on my channel, then hey, my name is Cameron Galbraith and I'm a finance professional based here in New York City. I've been studying for the GMAT myself for the last few months and I've made tons of content about this journey. So if you're interested in seeing any of that content, make sure to subscribe to my channel and check it out. And now let's get into where to start your prep in 2024. So before you dive into the technical material and practice problems, it is necessary to get a strong foundation in the structure of the exam. If you've learned about the GMAT exam before they started the Focus Edition, it will be vital to learn how the new Focus Edition differs from the original. At this point, you really can only take the Focus exam, so make sure to get familiar with the changes in the structure and content. I've made a video about this and it will be linked down below. But outside of just the content differences, it is also important to fully understand the general structure of the exam. For instance, the exam is 2 hours and 15 minutes long and has 64 questions across 3 sections: quantitative reasoning, verbal reasoning, and data insights. As much as you may think the GMAT is similar to other exams you've taken in the past, like the SAT or ACT, it's not. The GMAT exam uses an algorithm to determine your questions, and every answer dictates what the next question will be, which is pretty different from the SAT, where your questions are the same as the person's next to you. If you need a full breakdown of the structure of the exam, this video is not it, but unfortunately there's no shortage of that content on the internet to help you understand it. Once you understand the format of the exam, it is time to dive into the content. This next tip is inspired by my buddy Isaac from the GMAT Strategy, and he says that you should start off doing 10 practice problems from each of the 3 sections: verbal, quant, and data insights. This will give you exposure to all of the aspects of the exam and get a bit more familiar with how it is structured. It also may hint to you which subjects come easier than others. The GMAT does offer some practice problems in their free starter kit, so I recommend using those questions or some from a test prep provider like Magoosh. After reviewing the 30 problems that you solved, it is time to take a practice exam. Compared to the ACT and SAT, the GMAT is limited to only 6 official practice exams. These are all administered by the GMAT, so it is important to use them wisely. Fortunately, Magoosh offers a free GMAT practice test with accurate score prediction and subject-by-subject performance breakdown. This Magoosh practice test lets you do a single section like data insights, quant, or verbal for 45 minutes, or the whole assessment test for 2 hours and 15 minutes. And it's completely free at the link down below in the description. Magoosh has helped millions of students prep for the GMAT, and their content and exam is fully updated for the new GMAT Focus exam. Magoosh offers more than 800 questions, 200 plus video lessons, and smart feedback to turn your weaknesses into strengths. And best of all, Magoosh offers all of this at a fraction of the price of other test prep providers. And even with that, they also offer a score improvement guarantee. If you've taken the GMAT exam before and your score doesn't improve by 70 points after using Magoosh, they will give you your money back. Magoosh has been a great resource for me throughout my own GMAT prep journey, and I really have appreciated their review videos. Everybody is a different type of learner, and I think I do best when I can watch a video of someone solving a problem or discussing the content instead of just reading about it. So thank you, Magoosh, for sponsoring this video. If you want to get access to their free practice exam, the link will be down below in the description. So you may be wondering why I suggest taking a practice exam at the beginning of your prep instead of at the end. Well, the truth is that this one step can end up saving you weeks of work down the road. You see, by taking the practice exam, it shows you where your strengths and weaknesses lie. From there, you can determine where it is most wise to spend your time. This reminds me of the law of diminishing returns. The law of diminishing returns is a principle that states that the benefit gained from something will represent a proportionally smaller gain as more energy is invested into it. In terms of how this applies to the GMAT, it means that after a certain level, an extreme amount of time and effort is needed to see any additional gains. This is why taking a practice exam can save you weeks of work if you use it correctly at the beginning of your prep process. For example, if you take the exam and score extremely well in the verbal section, that can indicate to you that less time can be spent on verbal and more time spent in sections where you were weaker. Now, I'm not advocating for completely ignoring your strengths again until test day, but it is okay to spend significantly less time on them throughout the week and check in and do some practice problems every once in a while. This keeps you from having to spend hours reading lessons and watching videos on content that realistically will not get you any closer to a better outcome. A better performance will come from practice, which leads me to the final step, practice problems. So this fortunately can be a pretty quick section of this video, since I'd hope the value of practice problems is pretty self-explanatory. But speaking from experience, it is important to not fall into the trap of finishing X amount of problems to be done with your prep for the day, and instead focus in terms of understanding X amount of problems each day you work at it. When I was earlier on in my prep, I treated my practice problems as a chore that I should try to get over with as soon as possible. While this may have helped my efficiency, it reduced my effectiveness. I now do practice problems each day, and I focus not just on understanding why I got certain questions wrong, but also why I got others right. I always try to finish my study session feeling confident in each of the problem types that come across my desk. This gets me closer to my goal than just feeling the accomplishment of saying I did X amount of practice problems today. There are millions of different study plans that you can follow that give different advice for how to approach tackling all of the practice problems available. I think this is an area where you really just need to try a few things for yourself to see what works for you, since, like I said, everyone has different strengths, schedules, and learning styles. But if you do find the perfect plan, please feel free to share it with me, because I would appreciate it. As mentioned before, practice problems are a finite resource, so use them wisely. If you decide to purchase a program like Magoosh, you are fortunately given 800 plus questions to solve across the 3 sections. I highly recommend going with a prep program in addition to the free resources provided by the GMAT to ensure that you have no shortage of content to study and practice. And with that, that is my advice for where to start your GMAT Focus Prep in 2024. As mentioned earlier, if you want access to Magoosh's free practice test, the link will be down below in the description. As always, if you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any future content. I'll see you in the next one. Happy studying. Peace.